guys.
Anybody there? I'm gonna wait till people show up.
Yep.
We're doing this on our phone.
Yeah.
Because we haven't had a chance to buy a new computer.
No. Hi, Lynn.
Yeah, we are on big screen. Well, this is Gerald's thing. I'm just kind of been dragged into, honey, I need you. This is about ghosts and spirits and stuff. So, but this is his thing. So I'm just the extra. I'm just the extra people.
You're the extra person involved?
I'm the extra. Yay.
Alright guys, ready to get started?
Alright, hopefully our phone doesn't fall over. If it does, hang in there.
Hang in there.
We're trying our best to put this up. So, there you go.
Alright guys, welcome to Gerald's Movie Relish. I am Gerald, and this is my adorable, talented, lovely wife joining me today for this movie review. Super excited. You super excited about this, honey?
Well, I'm not a big scary movie person kind of fan because I try not to get into that vibration. But I watched it and it scared the living bejeebies out of me. But I'm ready. I'm ready.
Alright guys, the movie review we're going to do tonight is the movie The Conjuring. It is based on the true life cases of Ed and Lorraine Warren, who were paranormal activists. They were probably some of the most famous ones to ever do it as well, about ghosts and spirituality.
They're kind of like the first Ghostbusters.
Yeah, kind of. A little bit,
I mean, not really. I mean, there were people before that, but these were kind of people that were famous for doing what they did when it came to spirits.
Yeah, very true, yeah. And stuff, yeah. But yeah, this is about that and stuff. And it's about the case of the Perrin family who bought this house in Rhode Island in 1971, I believe, in January. And basically how the film really starts out.
Did you say what movie you're doing?
Yes, I did say what movie I'm doing.
I didn't hear it. I'm sorry.
Yes, I did say what movie I'm doing. Good Lord, The Conjuring, in case people were wondering.
Keep going. We're doing The Conjuring.
Good Lord.
I'm sorry, I'm a little hyper today.
Anyways, the movie starts out as you see Ed and Lorraine Warren, of course, who is played by Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, who plays the characters in the film. And you see them talk about the case of the Annabelle doll, of course, and how you see these kids who are like kind of they're like nurses, I think, in the movie, at the beginning of the movie. And you see them basically talk about the Annabelle doll, how it kind of comes back to life and stuff like that, and it kind of haunts them and torments them. And you see the beginning of the film where they throw the doll away, and then all of a sudden the doll comes back, though, basically. And then as the movie progresses on, you see them take the doll into their house.
Yeah, they have this weird kind of scary cellar where they keep all the haunted things, basically.
But actually, in real life, though, the actual museum is actually on the property itself. It's not actually in the house, though. But in the movie, they showed it in the movie, though, in the house. But actually, it's on their property, actually, though. And it's some kind of tunnel, I think, though.
Yeah, so it just kind of starts off with an introduction of what they do. Exactly,
basically. And then as the long movie goes, you see them basically talking about the paranormal activities and about ghosts and how they see demons and everything like that, and everything. And he starts out. And then along the way, you see this the Perrin family move into this Rhode Island house, this farmhouse. And then along the way, though, the kids of the family, they start experiencing kind of paranormal activities, of course, in the house as well. Back.
Okay, we're back.
All right, guys, sorry about that. Let's get action there.
So it starts with the kids kind of experiencing all kinds of
paranormal
ghost activity.
Yeah, kind of ghost activities. Basically, it's like furniture kind of moving around, pictures falling off the walls that they just put up on their house. You know, they smell kind of like rotten flesh in the house as well, too, in the movie. And basically, when the movie goes over, basically a lot of creepy stuff starts happening in the movie, though. At one point, you see the one girl who's sleeping in the bed with her sister, and the sheet takes off of her, and when she's sleeping in her bed, and she thinks her sister's messing with her, but it's really not her sister messing with her in the movie, though, which is kind of really weird and everything like that. So it's kind of something like that as well. And then a lot of crazy stuff starts happening in the movie, though. As well, you start seeing the family, like, you see chairs moving around, you start seeing, and eventually the mother starts getting, like, bruises, like, on her legs, like, and stuff like that. And he thinks the husband's the one giving her the bruises because they were in bed the one night and she gets bruises on her arm, and they can't really explain what's happening, though. And eventually it gets so bad, though, where eventually they ask the paranormal investigators and Lorraine, who are doing a speech at this college about this. And, of course, during that scene, of course, you see the real Lorraine Warren sitting in the audience with them as well.
Front row.
Front row, actually.
The real Lorraine is sitting in the front row.
And then basically you see the mother, of course, eventually after the speech is over with, in the audience with her, basically go up to the Warrens and ask the Warrens for help, though, because they feel like there's paranormal activity going on in their house, though. And they're really scared and they're really afraid, of course. Now, in actual real life, though, the mother actually did not meet up with the family in real life, though actually it was the friend of theirs.
It was the friend of the mother who, because I think the mother was kind of embarrassed, and it was, I mean, back in the day, you didn't really talk about
not really, no,
spirits and things like that. It was very much taboo, and I think it was a friend who reached out. But anyway, it's just a little detail.
Yeah, it's just a little detail, of course.
Little thing that's off.
Yeah, of course. And then along the way, though, they eventually go into the house, though, and they eventually start investigating what is going on with the family, though. And along the way, you see a cop come in as well, too, to help them, as well. And then you see, like, one of their people that helped them in the movie as well, too. A young Asian kid comes in and helps them with the investigation as well, too. During the movie, he does, like, all the taping of all, of course, and...
Well, I think what you can see in the movie is that, the Warrens were the first kind of people who were trying to get some kind of evidence.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
when it came to spiritual activity and all of that, and so they would set up cameras and photo cameras.
Yeah, of course.
And they would try to record voices and all kinds of stuff. And so they have this help.
Yeah.
And they also eventually ask a police officer, I think.
Yeah.
I guess to have a witness of some
sort. Of course, a witness,
because you never know what's going to happen.
Of course not.
Somebody might die, and then you're stuck in a murder investigation. If you have a cop present,
of course.
You got yourself a good witness that you didn't do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So basically, along the way, you see them investigating the house, and all of this weird stuff starts really happening. You see chairs flying around the house. You see a part where one of the girls gets her hair pulled and she like flies across the room, and then like their living room, kind of dining room area, and everything that stuff.
It's scary,
This
is how I watch it, and I'm like, is it over? This is how I see what's happening. But we watch it during the daytime. Because at night I'd be too scared to go to bed. I mean, just a lot of scary stuff happens.
Hey, there's like the scene in the movie where you see like Lorraine Warren go outside the house, though, and she sees like this dead body hanging from this tree, hanging there behind her husband's back. You see that scene in the movie as well, too. You see a point where like the one daughter talks about the jukebox and the pretend friend that she's playing with, and then there's like a boy you see in the jukebox and like this, and she's holding the jukebox. You see the boy in the jukebox, though.
Right, and there's spirits in the closet.
Yeah.
And, Lorraine falls down the shaft at one point, and there's a spirit there attacking her, and just a lot of scary stuff happening to the Warrens and the family, and mainly the mother.
Yeah, of course.
It kind of looked like the spirit really wanted to eliminate the mother figure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And take over, because it felt this was like a female spirit, and there were a lot of other spirits there.
Yeah, of course.
And in the movie, they kind of make a connection to all these spirits.
Yeah.
But I think, in reality, when you're dealing with a negative entity in a home, they automatically attract more negative entities. It's kind of like a beacon that's being sent out, and this is a good vibration to be in. And sometimes more spirits will come. And you watched some documentaries on the real, the oldest daughter who wrote a book, or who wrote some books about it.
Yeah, she wrote.
And she said that there were sometimes even soldiers who would just stand around their beds.
Yeah.
So those are just random spirits that are usually stuck somewhere, and they will be drawn to this kind of, when a spirit stays or is stuck in a place, it'll start creating a certain vibration, and it'll attract spirits who
Gotcha.
who are, who are comfortable in that same vibration. This is a quick story of
Yeah.
my family. We live in a house, and I don't know what they call that in English, but here they call it a water vein. So underneath our house, there's some kind of water pattern or something. And our house was built on a what used to be farmland and a farmhouse. And what we noticed is our house was always very cold. Didn't matter how much, how you would put your stove. It was always very cold in the house. I remember my whole life there was a knocking on my wall exactly at 10 o'clock when I was in bed. I would hear that on my wall. New electronics sometimes would just explode out of nowhere. So, not that I could see spirits, but I could always kind of feel like I was being watched all the time.
Creepy.
Yeah, and I was always scared going upstairs, and I was scared being in the house alone or being in the house when it's dark.
Give me the deepers.
It was, and I remember, I went to a medium because I was. This was when I was, I think, 19. And I was really depressed and suicidal, and my mom said, try a medium, and she saw a medium in a magazine here, and I didn't believe in mediums. The irony, right? I didn't believe in mediums, but I was desperate, and so I was like, oh, okay, I'll go and see what she says. And my dad went with me because I was not sure about all of this, and my parents had never gone to a medium either, so they were just desperate. They didn't know how to help me, and I was suicidal, and she was explaining stuff about me, and she was pretty spot on, and all of a sudden she turns to my dad and she says, so there's this closet next to your TV, she says, and inside the closet there's your DVD player, and this was a closet that we had inherited from my grandfather.
Wow.
And she said there's a spirit in there, and there's some spirits in your house, and they are stuck there, and they are causing damage, and they're making you guys sick, and they're not, because we were always tired and always exhausted, and so she, she came over to the house to clear it together with her boyfriend at the time, and my dad was there. We were in school. And my dad was there, and no, I was at work actually. I'd already graduated, and my dad said it was the weirdest thing because he said, when they were doing their thing, she said she would yell at her boyfriend, "He's coming your way, he's coming your way," and my dad had no idea what was going on, but as she was saying that, she had put up candles everywhere. The candle blew out like some kind of wind passed by it, and it would just blow out, and it would, and it would go in the direction that she was yelling at. She was going that way, and you could see the candle blow out, like a spirit passed.
Oh, wow.
And blew out the candle, and
Very
some
cool.
other stuff happened. And my dad said he looked at the thermometer. He was standing next to the thermometer of the heater. And he could see as they were clearing, the temperature was rising. He could see that it went up with like 5 degrees. And so she found three ladies that were back in medieval times, or I don't know, a long time ago, she said, were hung at trees for being witches, and they were where our fireplace is at now. And inside the closet that she originally touched on, she said that was a very old closet, and we went through World War II here, and the closet did as well. So the closet had a very special drawer at the bottom. It had a hidden drawer where people would stash their gold or their food or all kinds of stuff from the Germans. You couldn't see it, you had to know where to pull. And according to her, there was a mother and 2 children who were locked into the closet, apparently by somebody who tried to save them from the Germans. They locked them up to try to hide them. But the people who locked them up were taken and were executed. So nobody knew they were in the closet, and nobody would go in there. And eventually they starved to death in that closet. And apparently they were still there waiting for somebody to to get them out.
That's freaky.
So, and that's why our DVD players, they would break after a few months buying a new one. They would just explode, and that was just this energy that, that would cause some kind of short fuse kind of thing. But anyway, that's my scary story. But you see that in that movie too. There's spirits in the closets, and there's they're really a little bit of everywhere.
Yeah, it's a really freaky movie because when you see certain scenes in the movie, like you see like one scene where like where she's outside hanging up the laundry and stuff, and all of a sudden you see the sheet and all this, and then this figure is like holy crap, like whoa, where did that figure come from? That was a really creepy scene in the movie, though, of course. But definitely, I definitely think one of the creepiest scenes in the movie though was of course when the mother gets taken over and possessed by this spirit. And
and her face changes into this kind of
exactly
ugly kind of thing, and she's talking very mean and vicious, and so they try to do an exorcism.
Yeah, which
according to the movie, they applied for. They went to a priest, and they had to get approval from the Vatican for the Vatican to send an exorcist.
Yeah.
Because he was, he's not allowed to do exorcism, but there was no time in the movie. They said there was no time, and she was being possessed, and she was dying. She was dying, and
that was pretty bad.
So he performed an exorcism, and that was kind of a scary part to see
in the movie. Absolutely,
yeah. And but that stuff really happens. There's another movie called The Rite.
Yeah. With
Anthony Hopkins, which is based on a true story of a person who is from the Vatican and who does exorcist things.
Yeah.
So it does happen, and it can happen, and and this is I don't watch scary movies because I watched it for Gerald, but
oh, gee,
the things he makes me do.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate
right?
It.
No, but no, the reason I don't watch him is because I don't want to attract that into my reality. Because is it real? That's what people say. Are demons real or negative entities real? Well, I think demons is just a label that people place on spirits who are lost, who are in pain, or who just enjoy hurting people, who continue to do so, or who are mad, or who have unresolved issues, or spirits who don't even know they died. There's plenty of those out there too. They just can try to continue their journey, and they have no idea that they're no longer in a physical body. Yeah. And so they live in this a self-created reality in between heaven and earth. They really kind of in between there. When it comes to the label demons, do demons exist? If you're referring to entities that are coming from hell, then I will say no. There is no hell. Okay? There is no hell. There is only hell that we can create on earth, okay? And that's really what it is. We can create hell on earth, and we can create even demons if you want to. If you truly believe in demons, and they're gonna look like misformed beings and people with horns, you're gonna see it. Because the thing is, this lifetime as a human being is a false reality. It feels very real to us, but it is a creation of the conscious mind and of the belief system. So if you truly believe that the devil exists and he's coming after you, then you might experience that physically. That doesn't mean it's real, but to you it's going to be real because you've created it in your reality to be real. Okay? So that's the thing on demons. Is it real? It depends on how you define demons. If you mean spirits who are bad, who are intended to hurt you, who enjoy hurting you or scaring you, then those spirits can be very real, and those are usually entities, beings who, like I said, who are in a vibration where they choose to stay here on earth, or where they have unresolved issues and it just makes them mad. And you have to see it this way. When you're a spirit and you're kind of stuck in between, you get into this whole new reality. And so sometimes spirits will attack people that come into their homes because they think that you're invading their home. They don't understand they have died, or they don't want to accept that they have died. And therefore, they stay where they are, and they will try and push you out because they feel like you're invading their, like you're thieves or you're trying to hurt them. So they will, retaliate. They will try and get you out of their house. That does happen. So it's it's a hard subject, isn't it? Because it's real and it's not real. Because in the afterlife, when we go home, demons and negative entities don't exist. They only exist here when we stay in a lower vibration. Yeah. And then you have cases where one person will experience spirits in a house, and then they sell the house, and a new family moves in and they don't experience anything. So how do you explain that? Were those other people lying? Not always, because it depends on where you are, in what frequency you reside in. If you're in a lower frequency, if you're negative, if you're always fearful, if you're fearful of spirits, if you're fearful of a lot of things, then you're lowering your vibration, and that's where those entities who are stuck in between are residing in. And so they will prey off of people who are worried. Now, in this movie, the family bought a farmhouse with the last cents that they had in order to survive. There was a bad economy going on. Yeah. He couldn't find a job, so he decided to invest every little penny he had into a farmhouse to try and kind of make an income that way. And so they were constantly probably worried about money, constantly worried about, is this going to work, is it not going to work, and so on and so forth. So they were in a lower vibration of fear and doubt and worry and all of that. And so when you go into a home that has entities attached to it, they will experience those entities, and they can on a very physical level. They can literally get cuts and bruises and get thrown in the air. But then there was a new owner who kind of gave contradictive information on the internet. But the new owner originally said that she didn't feel anything. So the same house of the Conjuring was sold to another person, and that person said she didn't really feel much, right?
No.
But then you found a video where she's starting to change that story a bit.
Yeah,
so the internet's kind of iffy. You never really know. But why would it be possible that one person sees them and the other person doesn't? It's because the other person might be in a complete different reality. Okay, it might be the same house, but if their frequency is very elevated, if they truly, with the 100%, with all of their being, do not believe in spirits, they're not going to see them, because they are on a whole different frequency than where the spirits are residing. So they can actually coexist in one location without ever meeting.
Yeah, it's.
So you have to think in terms of dimensions and frequencies.
Yeah, it's when you see the movie though, you kind of see what the family's going through and the tragedy they're going through and all that stuff, and how they're all trying to deal with it, and they're all kind of dealing with it in kind of their own little ways. Basically, though, you see the mother, the mother's kind of breaking down a lot though in the movie as well. You see how the daughters are trying to adjust to things and stuff. You see the little girl as well, of course. How she's kind of playing with the spirits a little bit though, and with a boy who supposedly died in the house as well too, and everything like that. And then you basically see a lot of different elements in the film though, what the family is really going through and how they're all kind of dealing with it and how they're all kind of trying to figure out how to kind of coexist. Because apparently this family lived in this house for 10 years. I couldn't imagine living in a house that was haunted for 10 years.
I'd be out of there in the first week.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm out of here.
That would have been the same.
I'm out of here. But the thing is, they do explain, Lorraine explains, or I think it was the husband, I don't remember.
Yeah.
She explains that she could see the spirits were attached to them. So they had latched themselves onto them.
Yeah, you see that in the movie,
And she explains that the reason they latch onto you is because they need your energy to continue to be present. They need your energy to stay in that lower vibration, because this is what makes us stay in this lower earthly vibration is our body. Okay, our body has a low dense energy. That's why it's physical. Okay, for everybody who's seen the movie Lucy,
Yeah.
eventually her body disappears because she actually raises her vibration and the vibration of her physical body. Therefore, she actually sheds the body and no longer needs it. But that's a whole other movie. Great movie, though.
And it's a very good movie.
But yeah, so spirits can latch onto you, and she explains in the movie it doesn't matter if you move to another house, you're carrying the spirit with you. They have attached themselves to you, and they are feeding off your energy in order to continue to exist in this lower realm. When spirits start to lose energy, when they have nobody, no human physical body to latch onto and to absorb the energy, they actually cross over. They eventually don't have a choice. Their vibration becomes so weak that they are then absorbed by kind of the universal energy. And that's kind of weird to think about it, but it kind of their conscious creation of this human self of theirs eventually evaporates because there's no more energy to feed it, and they get absorbed by their higher self again. So it's complicated. But I had a great question here. I think it was Phil who said something about, these spirits can pretend to be ghosts and take on the form of evil, and that is true. In spirit form, you can take on any form you choose. And so true. A lot of times when... I'm sorry. Do you have something to say?
No.
Yeah, you asked for my advice. I'm giving it to you.
Oh, it's okay.
A lot of times, when it comes to spirits, especially possession, when it comes to people that are being possessed, those spirits will start off being super friendly to you. And they will try and get into your graces, so you will allow them in. You cannot get taken over or possessed unless you allow the spirit in. You have to give your permission. And so it's something a lot of people don't know. And so people will start to hear a voice, or they'll start to see people, and they'll be all friendly and nice, and they'll help them out, and they'll make them feel better. And it's usually people who are depressed, who are not feeling good. You see that sometimes where this mother all of a sudden turns on her children and murders all her kids, and she has no recollection of it. Usually those people are on antidepressants, they are on medication, they are not doing well, they're trying to, kind of keep some sort of sanity. And so either way, they're not in a good place. And so the spirit will actually come and kind of sweet talk you and make you feel better and say, hey, if you do this, you're going to feel so much better. And they start doing it. And eventually the spirit usually convinces them to allow them into their journey somehow, or into their system. They kind of trick people in there. And then they can actually, with your invitation, they take over. Yeah,
you see that in the movie too, where the mother gets kind of taken over by this entity, this ghost or spirit, whatever how you want to call it, basically.
Well, the mother gets to a point where she's weak.
Yeah, she's very weak though, and it actually talks about it. The oldest daughter talks about it, and that her mother got to a point where she got really, really weak though, because it was almost like deteriorating from what happened to her, basically.
Yeah, she gives lectures about that.
Yeah, the oldest daughter does, Adrienne Piron.
Yeah.
She wrote 3 books about the whole thing about this. So.
And so when there's no more spirit to fight the other spirit, they got you. They have control over you because you've got nothing. You have no more energy left. Or you allow them in. So it's one or the other. Either they will drain the crap out of you, or they will smooth you up and then get in that way. But what I want everybody to know and understand is that no spirit can enter unless you, in some way or form, either invite them in, and sometimes we do that consciously, and sometimes we do that subconsciously or unconsciously. We're not aware that we're giving them some kind of approval, or we're inviting them in, or people do sometimes stupid stuff. Hey, is anybody out there? They go with a Ouija board and they anybody out there? Well, you just opened the doors to everyone.
Pretty much, yeah.
You got to set boundaries, you got to set intentions, and
Absolutely.
Most of all, you cannot be fearful, and you cannot live in fear. You have to keep your vibrations high. You have to know you're protected, and you have to have this deep knowing that, you're in control. This is your reality, and you get to choose who communicates with you and who doesn't, how they do it. You need to have that conviction. There cannot be an inch of doubt. Because I have gone to houses where people were like, oh, there's somebody crawling in my bed at night, and I can't see them, but I feel them.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, remember?
Yeah,
the one lady, we had
yes.
to go to an apartment, and she was like, every night I feel like somebody's crawling in my bed, and she was all alone, and she was an elderly lady. And
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
so I went over there, and it turned out it was John.
Yeah.
John was scared to go home. He died there. It used to be a hospital, and they turned it into senior citizens' apartments.
Yeah.
And so he died in that room alone. He had no family, no friends. He was all alone, and he was afraid. He was afraid that he would disappear. So he decided to stay on. He was not a bad spirit, but he truly enjoyed her company because he had never had anybody to be with him. He was always alone in his lifetime. And so he enjoyed her company, and he enjoyed being with her, and so he was a really nice guy, and he kept showing me he loved to fly fish.
Yeah.
He loved fly fishing, and he had this checkered. You saw him too.
I saw the image of him too. Yeah.
And so I just told him, it's okay, people are waiting for you at home. It's time to go home. And I kept talking to him, and I kept saging the house and the apartment. And he went home, and he came, I think a day later, he came into my head, and he goes, thank you. I'm so happy to be here because I didn't know that many people loved me because he had never really experienced love in his lifetime, and it was kind of a sad story, but, he went home, and she was like, yeah, I haven't felt him, so I'm happy. So she wasn't mad at him either. She was just like, this is feeling uncomfortable. So, spirits can take over homes. They can possess items. So be careful when you purchase something secondhand. My dad always told me, and he's a jeweler. My dad's a jeweler, and he always said never buy secondhand wedding rings or. Yeah. And if you do, make sure you clear them very thoroughly, because a lot of spirits attach themselves to wedding rings and things
objects
like that.
They can do that too, well, very much so. Yeah, but I think what really makes the movie fascinating though is in the Conjuring though is you really see just how bad it can get, how quickly and how fast it can get really bad though in the movie though too, because it kind of escalates as it goes along too as well. Eventually, there's like a part in the movie where you see that where the one girl's like this and she sees this ghost or this demon, whatever you want to call it, on top of her closet though. It's like that something attacks her though, which is really freaky in the movie though when you see that. And we're like, oh my goodness! I saw it, I was like, oh shit! I was like, come get the hell out of here, man, and stuff. But yeah, there's that scene right there was really freaky in the movie though. Absolutely, and then you start to see it in the movie too, is where like you see the cop he sees like a kind of like this like a pilgrimage like a woman though. And I think she attacks him in the movie too. I think as well. You see that in the movie as well too, which is really freaky as hell in the movie as well too.
Well, and I think there's a little girl. There's a small child. The smallest child is like 2 or 3 years old.
No, I think she's about 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Something
okay.
like that, around that age, yeah.
And you see that she just plays with him.
Yeah.
So it makes it very clear, when children are that young, they really experience these spirits very differently. And
Absolutely,
so she only sees the positive kind of she saw the little boy that played with her because the boy was murdered by its own mother as well. So she doesn't really get attacked, does she? And that's just because she lives in a higher frequency still. She's still very much in that knowing that she's protected, and so. But she does communicate with them, but not in a violent way. Yeah. She just plays with them. They're just like her friends.
Yeah. I think the kids that played the actual people that did a really good job of really, showing how they were really feeling. They really get to see their emotions or how they're going through this. And I think they did a real good job picking the
actors,
yeah, absolutely. They did a real good job of portraying it, though, and stuff like that stuff. They did a real good job of kind of telling the story in the way was supposed to be told, though. Because normally, though, the rating was supposed to be different for the film, though, and everything like that stuff. Because the real family said that they wanted, when they made the film, though, that there was going to be certain parts that were going to be like, because when they told the director about the film, of course, so James Wan, who directed the film, they had to make it a certain rating. Because why? Because certain parts were so bad that they couldn't have done it any other way, though. And some of the stories they told the director, though, were just like incredibly fascinating, though, and stuff like that stuff. I think this was a very, very interesting film, though, and stuff like that stuff. It shows you basically how bad things can really get really quickly, though, in a house that's really being haunted, basically, in a way, kind of.
if you like scary movies, it's a great movie because what makes it even scarier is that this shit really happened.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
That makes it even scarier. Yeah. And yes, there's people out there, and the thing is, it's still a movie.
Yeah, it's true.
And yeah, they're gonna make it sensational, and I'm sure that sometimes stories are a little bit twisted and adjusted,
fabricated a little.
Yeah, in order to kind of make it more cohesive and more, absolutely. More into a storytelling thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I watched one of the daughters.
Yeah. So yeah.
Share her story, the real person.
Yeah.
One of the oldest girls who shared her real story, and I listened to her and I watched her, and her energy was very truthful, and so to me she was not making stuff up. This stuff really happened.
Yeah.
And on the internet you're gonna always have people who will find some kind of reason to tell you this is not real and this is fake, and you'll always have believers and you'll have non-believers, but that's just how it is when it comes to spirits. You'll always have people who believe in mediums and people who will find every way possible to disclaim them. That's just how people are. This is not for everyone's reality to believe in spirits. But Phil says, how can spirits affect the lights and machines and physical stuff telekinetically? I don't know if I say that right.
Telekinesis.
That must be hard for them. They don't do it with their minds.
Yeah.
It's actually very simple. Anything electronics is the easiest thing to manipulate.
Yeah,
that's what Eric always tells me. He tells me anything like lights, anything that's electronics that has electricity, which is, it's energy. Electricity is pure energy, and so that's the easiest to manipulate. Now, spirits,
very true.
They don't use telekinesis.
No.
They use...
that would be kind of cool if they did, though, actually. Though.
Well,
they did use it.
What we call that telekinesis in a human form.
I guess, yeah.
But what they do is they actually manipulate the energy. That's all they do. So they can manipulate water, they can manipulate phones, they can manipulate lights, and it's just, they change the energy frequency of the lights that goes from on to off, on to off, on to off, for example, or the flickering.
Yeah.
And that's usually because their energy is actually intervening with certain things, but they can also do it intentionally. So that's how they do things. So it's actually super simple. And they can make things disappear and appear again if they want to as well. They can lift entire people up in the air. Why? Because the reality that we see is not real. It's a projection. Remember I made a video on the illusion of time and space? This space is not real. Right now, we believe we're sitting in a couch in our living room.
Very true.
But this is a projection. It's not reality. It is a projection. So how do you change a projection? By changing the frequency. Yeah. It's kind of like a TV. Yeah, you know those old TVs? What movie are we talking about, Judy? We're talking about The Conjuring. The Conjuring. Very scary movie that based on a true story.
Yeah.
So, you know those old TVs with the antenna, and you had to turn the knob.
Oh God, yes, I remember those.
To find the right frequency in order to see the picture. That's kind of similar. But only we have the right frequency to project this space. And so what they do is they actually manipulate the frequency, and they kind of create disturbances.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So they can change things, move things, make things disappear, mess with your water. Eric always messed with our
radio.
With our radio.
Always, all the time.
Our old shower, we had a radio in the shower, and
we changed the radio stations.
And it happened to me all the time, and I was like, "Honey, is our radio broken? It keeps switching."
I remember that too. It was funny.
It would switch, and I always listen to '80s music. I love there's a channel called Nostalgia, and it's always like '80s, '90s music. '60s, '70s. And I would always listen to that, and every time I was in the shower, it kept switching to this kind of like AC/DC kind of stuff, and I was like, why is it doing that? And so the first day I was like, honey, there's something wrong with our radio. It keeps going back and forth.
You thought that completely so.
And I kept going back to my channel and it kept switching. Remember that? And you were like, that's weird. I haven't had any problems. So a week goes by. Every day I'm in the shower, my channel switch.
Funny.
And that was at the beginning when I just started talking to Eric. I had never even thought that it was him messing with my channels.
That was funny, actually.
And so I was asking Gerald, and I was like, haven't you had any problems with the radio? And he's like, no.
I had no problem.
And I was like, okay, you stand there, and I'm going to take a shower. You stay next to the shower, and I'll show you it does it. And so it did.
Yeah,
and Gerald's like, oh, it does switch channels. And then it kept switching back and forth. And I was like, Eric, if this is you...
Yeah.
Stop it. And it stopped. And that's how I know it was Eric. Because he was just messing with it. But, you know, sometimes it takes a while before we recognize that, hey, there's something more going on here than just a bad frequency.
Yeah, absolutely. And you really get a real good sense of that in the movie The Conjuring, of course. And it's like that stuff that, that weird stuff can happen, though, whether you can explain it or not sometimes, though. And you really see that really well. In the movie, though, it's like, you see, like...
Yeah, at first they kind of go over it, don't they? They're like, exactly. Okay, that must be the wind. Or...
Yeah, exactly, though. But then you see, like, there's, like, a part at the end of the movie where it's, like, the birds are flying to the house and shit like that. That was, like...
against the windows.
And, like, breaking their necks and shit like that. I was like, oh, like, holy crap, man. I was like, dude, that's just weird.
Yeah. The thing is to pay attention, Pay attention and do what you feel. I saw... a little piece where Lorraine Warren, who's one of those psychic investigators, and she's a medium as well, and she said the same thing. When you go into a home, hi, Dad. When you go into a home, follow your feelings. Does it feel warm? Does it feel cozy?
Does it feel inviting?
Does it feel cold? Does it feel... like scary? Does it feel like you're not comfortable? If you do, get out of there.
Yeah, run for the hills, man. Let's go.
No, just don't get it. Don't get the house.
Locomotive.
If you go into a home and it feels like you coming home, well, then that's a good vibration to be in. So she definitely highlighted the fact that you always have to trust your feelings, and you know what?
Yeah,
that is your truth. Yeah. And that is your higher self and your spiritual team communicating to you. So we need to learn.
Yeah.
Trust our instincts and our feelings.
Absolutely, 100%.
Far more than what we think, because what we think is so limited.
Yeah, absolutely.
The human mind is limited, but what we feel can share so much more about what's going on than what we can comprehend. So always follow your heart, And this movie, like I said, I'm not a big fan, and it's scary, and... I don't watch it because I don't want to bring it into my frequency, but at the same time, I know I'm good. I'm protected because this is my reality, and I know I'm in control. And I have had 2 times where I was sleeping and I woke up and I felt like somebody was trying to penetrate my body, and I told them to get the heck out of there. I'm like, you are not coming into my body. This is my vessel, and you do not have the authority to come in. And I can feel this negative energy going, whoop. It just kind of pulls out of you, and they're gone. And then I freak out afterwards. Then I'm like waking Gerald up. Let's try it again. I've had it happen twice in my lifetime, spread out over many years, but just twice.
I think it happened.
Where I feel like an entity tries to enter without my permission, and you will always wake up, and it's important to then really state your intention and your opinion. Yeah. This is no fear. You cannot have fear, but you just have to tell him, fuck the shit. You're leaving now. This is my body. You ain't got the permission. You have to be strong in that knowing, and that really helps. It helps to release the fear when you know that you're in control. When you know
it,
that
it just has to have a really strong faith and belief, though. That if your faith and belief is really strong, though, that this can't happen to you, it won't happen to you. It's all about how your faith and your belief and what you believe in, and you're really just it's about letting go and something, and being really open minded to certain things too, and just having
paying attention
and really paying attention too as well. It's very, very important too as well.
And not to be scared, when there are spirits stuck, Let's try and move them, cross them over. They're usually just stuck for, those very demonic kind of spirits do exist. One, because we create it and we feed it even more.
Yeah, it's true, very much. Yeah.
The reality of them. As
As
long as people believe that demons exist, guess what? In this reality, they will exist because that creation is being collectively made. Yeah. And there's half or more of the population believes in the devil and hell and demons. And as long as that belief system is there, in this reality, this temporary reality, it can be very real, but no one understands that you control your reality, and you do not have to allow that into your reality. And I think that's important to know.
Absolutely, I think it's very important to know that. It's like I said, it goes back to really your faith and belief system, what you believe in too as well, though, you know what I'm saying?
And I think that's what Lorraine said. So Lorraine Warren, who's one of the psychic investigators in the movie and helps the family, and she sees the dead people hanging. And
I know. She
sees the spirits, and she, I saw an interview with the real Lorraine Warren, and they asked her, you have gone to all these haunted places and dealt with these haunted objects for 50 years. They did it for 50 years.
Yeah,
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, it really is.
And they had a baby themselves. They had a daughter. Yeah. They asked her, how do you keep yourself safe? Because she's been through things that she doesn't even want to talk about.
No.
She's been through things that she locked herself up in her own room for a week, never talked to her husband about it, and still they asked her about it, and she says, I don't want to talk about it.
No.
There are things that she's seen she never wants to talk about. And she said, the way I protect myself is my belief. I believe that God is protecting me, and you can believe in whatever you want, whether you believe in angels are protecting you, or God, or Source, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, she says.
True. Mother Nature.
But she was very Catholic, and so
she was.
She truly believed that she was protected by God and Jesus, and that belief system kept her safe, although she did experience a lot of physical attacks while they were there.
I think it's kind of funny, too, that her husband used to be a cop, actually, though. So that's
used to be a cop, almost died. And she actually, I heard a story where she tells people that she had a vision of her husband, and she met him like a few weeks later. She didn't know it was him at the time. Oh. But then she met him, and they held hands. She was kind of invited on this blind date thing. She held his hand, and she's had their vision of them being together. No. And so that's how she knew she was going to marry this man. So she really followed what she was given, and I think that's important. And when you communicate to spirit, do you need to protect yourself? Well, if you believe that you need protection, then you probably will need it. Yeah. But if you believe that, this is your reality, and you're not allowing anything in that's lower negative energies.
No.
And that you send out that intention that it's okay, I am protected. I don't need protection because I already am protected.
Very true.
Then you don't need protection because your belief system will protect you, and that's how I experience it. I don't do a little prayer before I channel or what I do is in the morning I send out an intention. Every morning in my head, I will send out the intention of gratitude that I am protected. I basically say, Father, Mother, God, thank you for protecting me with your golden white light of love and protection. I call upon my guides, my angels, my friends, and my family to communicate to me in all highest health and wellness, and to help me help others to communicate to their loved ones and find their path in their journey. That is my prayer. That is my intention that I send out. And so it's not an intention of, please protect me. It's an intention of, hey, thanks that I'm protected. Yeah. It's an expression of gratitude. And that's a whole different thing, because then I don't attract anything to be fearful of, because in my head, there's nothing to be fearful of. Even if these are lower vibrational beings who are stuck, they need help. And that's how I see it. So that's why I've never really experienced any kind of physical threat, or and I've had we watched it just recently. I've had over 2,000 2,200 readings in about 3 years now. That's a lot of spirits to talk to, and guess what? Nobody's ever tried to attack me so far, and that's because I send out the right intentions, and before I channel, my intention is being sent out to communicate solely to the entities who are in the team of the person I'm going to be channeling for. So I'm not inviting everybody.
I think that's the most important thing you have to know when you do any kind of work like this, though. You have to know how to set boundaries.
Yeah.
You say, okay, I'm protecting my energy, and okay, I allow you to come in, but you can't be invading my space. You have to kind of,
Well, it's not about protection, but it's about setting your boundaries. That's correct, what you said. It's about setting your boundaries by knowing that, when I channel for Gerald, only the people who are in his guidance, in his team, who are connected to him on a very personal, loving level, only those people come in. It's just... I don't have to send it out. It's just a knowing. So I send it out. It's more of an intention than a request.
Yeah. It's kind of the same thing when I work too, though, when I have to do my healing. Like kind of the same thing too. I kind of set this, I'm there to help the person though, but also to say, okay, my job is not to absorb their energy. My job is to help them guide their energy out of them. And like that. So I think that's really it's really about your faith, your belief, about setting the right intentions and the right boundaries when you do the work that you do as well when it comes to this kind of stuff. So, and I think that's really the foundation of everything though when you do certain things.
Right,
Absolutely.
And when it comes to scary movies, if you enjoy them, great, but don't go seeking it. Don't go seeking it out if you don't need to. Try to keep your vibration up and try to avoid those kind of things. But yeah, to the question, is it real? In this reality, it can be very real.
Yes, it
because it is created on a collective level. However, everybody lives in their own frequency, in their own universe. So whenever people are in a high frequency, the lower frequencies don't even see them. You're not on the same level.
No.
It's like you have to see it this way. Like we live in a multidimensional frequency reality, right? And so you have to see it like a big apartment building with infinite amount of levels, right?
Yeah.
And so when you're at the high level, when you're all the way on top there, having, you're feeling good, you're happy, you're at a high vibration. Or you're just content. You're feeling good. You don't always have to walk on clouds, but you're just content and you're happy with your journey. And it's okay. I don't have everything I have yet, what I really want, but it's happening. When you can be at peace, when you can be in a positive vibration, and then you have people who are completely lost and sad and they go into a lower vibration. You can't. You can't even see each other. If you're constantly staying there, you never use the stairs to go down. You cannot meet each other. There's so many levels in between you. So you cannot be in the same reality, although you are in a co-creative reality.
Very true.
You won't encounter each other, or you won't even experience each other because you're just in different frequencies.
Yeah, you're different levels of...
So it's hard to explain, but when it comes to everything that exists, it all comes down to energy and frequency.
Yeah, it really does.
That's the thing. And when frequencies don't match, they cannot meet.
No, very true.
So keep your levels high, And if you are depressed and if you are feeling low, keep your belief system in check. Okay, God is watching over me. My angels are protecting me. I have nothing to fear.
Yeah.
Okay, and nobody can enter this vessel without my permission. And nobody,
absolutely.
And I send out the intention to my house. When I sage my house, which is usually every 6 months, I sage my house. I go from top to bottom. Then we send out the intention that this house is protected and no energies are allowed to come in unless invited by us.
Yes.
So they actually need to get an invitation in order to come in. And when I do channel for people, then they know that as soon as the channel is over, they are out of here.
It's basically the same thing.
Go to your peoples.
It's basically the same thing I want to do with my healings too. If I feel like I need a little extra help to help the person I'm helping, though, I will invite them in though. But they know I have to invite them. They know this already. Yeah. So they understand that.
So that way we know our house is clear, and we hear that all the time. People come in and they go, "Oh, I feel so light and peaceful in here."
Yeah.
That's because our Gerald and I's, and we have a belief system in place that says no negative energies can come in.
Yep.
Simple as that. Our house, we see a big bright light around our house. So imagine that in the morning, that your house is protected, that it's clear and it's just shining. You know, it's shining.
Definitely. Okay, guys. Any questions about the movie, guys? What did you guys think of it? Did you like it? You know, and all that kind of stuff. So we'll take some questions now, of course, from you guys.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys. If you guys have any questions, let us know what you guys thought about the movie. Did you like it? Did you...
Great actors too.
Very
Did we
good
say
actors.
that?
Yes.
Did we say that? Great
Yes.
actors.
Yeah, very good actors in the movie, though, of course.
Yeah. It's a good, and there's a second Conjuring.
Yeah, there's a second one.
Which is also based on real things, and which they also have pictures from and video materials.
And I know they're getting ready to pretty soon make they're making a third one too as well.
Really?
Yes, they're making a third one, of course.
Ooh, do tell. I haven't heard about that.
The third one's supposed to be about, I guess, a trial about a guy who supposedly killed some person. Though I think it's about a trial. Though I know this one though. It's about this one's the third one's about a trial as well. A guy who was possessed and killed somebody.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's still a big mystery.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, the movie Annabelle is based off, and I haven't seen it.
No.
But the Annabelle doll actually doesn't look anything like the one in the movie.
No, it does not. That is completely...
Go look it up. The Annabelle doll is one of those big fluffy ones.
Raggy Ann dolls.
It's a raggy, like a fabric doll.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a completely different doll than they use
Absolutely,
in the movie, but
of
it's
course.
based on that story of the possessed doll.
What do you say while you're staging your home? Oh, staging your home. Yes, staging. Yeah, good question.
What do you say when you're staging? I don't know. Whatever comes to my head at the moment. It'll be something like, this house is protected with love and light. Only those spirits invited by us, only our angels and guides are allowed to enter our home. No other entities are welcome. Therefore, you are... not invited into our space. This space is clear.
Yeah.
However you want to say it. It's
Yeah.
really about believing what you say. It's not just about rambling something off, but it's about really believing what you say.
Yeah, it's true though. Because I think when I say things, I kind of do it a little bit differently than you do though. I say basically give me the strength, the courage, and the wisdom to be able to help myself and help others as well.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's like that. So
That's beautiful.
I really use that.
See,
though.
everybody has their own thing. It's about making something that resonates with you and that basically states what you want to say. So
Very
however you want to say it. Evie saw Annabelle. She said it was good.
Okay.
Good.
I'll have to check it out though. I haven't seen it yet. Though.
It's on Netflix.
Yes, it's on Netflix. Yes.
Watch it during the daytime, honey.
Yeah, please.
If he watches this stuff, Evie, if he watches this at night, this is how I want. And I go, honey, is it gone? All I have to do is put some scary music on, and I'm already like grabbing. And then he's always like, honey, did you see the movie? And I see bits and pieces of it. That's how I watch a scary movie. I'm like... Or I'll put my computer on my lap and I'll distract myself to the screen whenever something scary happens. I'm not very brave in those moments, but it's just I don't want to attract it into my reality.
Yeah,
So that's just me.
All right. All right, any more questions before we sign off, guys?
What's your next review? Well, that depends on you. Gerald always puts movie titles on there, and then you guys get to choose which one he needs to review.
Yeah. Next week we'll do the new movie theme. Next week though, it'll be a new topic, of course. Of course, this is
it's Scary Month.
Scary Month. It's October.
It's Halloween, you know.
Yes, of course. So I will do my new movie theme next week, of course.
Which is?
Well, I'm not going to tell you. We have to find out tomorrow because I will post tomorrow about it. So there you go.
So secretive.
I know. I am so secretive. Thank you.
Exciting.
Yes.
Exciting.
Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this movie review, guys. We had a lot of fun doing it, guys. Thank you for being a part of it. Of course, you guys can check me out on my Facebook page, Gerald's Movie Relish. Of course.
He has a YouTube channel as well.
I do have a YouTube channel.
Where he has top 10s.
Yes, I do. I'm still working on some of my top 10s, of course, though.
Yeah. We've had problems with computers and stuff.
Yeah, of course, we had some problems.
And house stuff. And all kinds of... It's just been a really crazy year.
Yeah, it has been.
Hasn't it? It's been
Yes.
a really crazy
Absolutely,
year.
yeah.
Challenging,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Absolutely, yes.
But we're having fun with you guys, and that's what's important.
Very much so, guys. Love you guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed this kind of stuff. And like I said, if anybody missed it, though, you can always see it on my Facebook page later on if you didn't see it. You guys can comment afterwards, too, if you guys want to as well.
Yeah, Gerald will stay on.
I will stay on,
and if you have any more questions or anything,
Absolutely.
don't be afraid to type it up. And if you just joined now, this will be recorded, and so you will be able to rewatch it later. And yeah, as long as we're talking about ghosts, he's kind of like, honey, do you want to come on and talk about ghosts?
Yeah, well,
Of course.
Yeah.
I will do anything for my Pookie.
Oh.
No. All right, guys. We love you.
Love you guys.
And I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of babble and talk. And whenever I can, I will help out my beautiful husband here. But go check out his YouTube. Go subscribe, honey. Subscribe.
Subscribe, honey.
I
Subscribe.
am Belgian. I am allowed to make mistakes.
No, you're not.
That's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.